Hello and welcome to a special broadcast of the 2023 inauguration ceremony. I am Fola Shade Ogurinde. Bola Ahmed Tinubu has been sworn in as the 16th President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Olukayode Ariwola, administered the oath of office to Tinubu and his deputy Kashim Shettima at exactly 10:28 a.m. and 10:38 a.m. respectively. The swearing-in ceremony was witnessed by Tinubu's predecessors, including Muhammadu Buhari and Goodluck Jonathan. The president assured that his administration will ensure that Nigeria remains great and united.
The electricity will become more accessible and affordable to businesses and homes alike. Power generation should nearly double and transmission and distribution network must improve significantly. We will encourage various state governments to continue to participate in this effort. I have a message for our investors, local and foreign. Our government shall review all the complaints about multiple taxation and review various anti-investment inhibitions. My administration must create meaningful opportunities for our youth. We shall honor our campaign commitment of 1 million jobs and the digital economy. A nationwide program for the storage and facilities to reduce spoilage and waste. All of that will be undertaken. Agricultural hubs will be created throughout the nation to increase production and engage in credit, promote credit, engage in value-added processing. The livestock will introduce the best modern practices and steps taken to minimize the perennial conflicts. On fuel subsidy, unfortunately, the budget that I've glimpsed before I assume office and what I've heard is that no provision is there for fuel subsidy. The fuel subsidy is gone. Justify its ever increasing cost and the wake of dry resources. We shall instead channel whichever to fund into better investment.
Former All Progressives Congress Presidential Campaign Council Secretary James Faleke has said that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will, within 60 days after his inauguration as President of Nigeria, reveal the names of his cabinet members. The right-hand man of the former Lagos State Governor made this known on Monday in an interview with newsmen at the Eagle Square venue of the inauguration. Buhari, who handed over to Tinubu after 8 years, unveiled his cabinet 6 months after his inauguration in 2015. Well, for more analysis, Liberos Oshoma, legal expert and public affairs analyst, joins me now. Thank you very much for joining us. Now, the inauguration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has come and gone, and focus has now shifted to naming of the cabinet. And we saw that in the administration of the former President Buhari, we saw a delay of 6 months. Are we likely to see the same thing play out in this new administration?
Thank you. I do not think so. I see more with all the controversies surrounding this administration. I do not think that the administration would want to fritter away, any little, good that it has now. I do not think they will wait for 6 months like former President Muhammad Buhari did. Now we call him former president. That means by transcend. Somebody also, is a former president also, just like others that have come before them. So I think that they would want to, have an experience, what that did to the Buhari and the damage that he did to whatever good that he came into office with. I do not think they want to wait, that long. But even though I had expected that we should have seen, some, few persons, some, mentioned today, because speech, like we say, talk is cheap. Everybody can give a fine and beautiful speech. So Nigerian leaders also have made some of us not to get carried away with beautiful speeches, but to actually wait to see actions taken and to see, the people that will actually, enable these actions. Bola Tinubu during campaign have been touted to be the man, that knows how to pick square pegs in square holes. So one would have expected that today we'll see at least a glimpse of those square pegs in square holes. But 60 days is not too much to wait, considering the fact that, there are a lot of things that go into this, appointment also, not just from what we see, because it is also, if it's from my point of view, you would say between the time of the election and now would have been enough to make, one or two or few appointments. But it is what it is. They are not the one in government. They are, and so they are probably at an advantage position. And so, but anything beyond 60 days for me is even too much. I would expect within a month that we should, because Nigeria does not have that 60 days. The administration does not have 60 days to waste or to wait to put people in place that would begin to work, because the president has said during his campaign that he was going to hit the ground running, and it will keep running and it will keep running. So having to wait for 60 days, that's 2 months. By 2 months, we would have entered, the third quarter of the year. So that for me, I don't think Nigeria needs have such luxury of time. But like I also said, we are not in that position to see what they are seeing.
All right, so President Tinubu, well, that sounds new, but we'll definitely get used to it.
Yes.
Has recorded some wins at the Supreme Court, but he still has an election tribunal to tackle. I mean, Atiku Abubakar, Peter Obi of the Labour Party, and some other parties are, saying he should not be president. And some have actually even, said this inauguration should not take place. Do you think this will in any way weigh down, President Tinubu's, promise to hit the ground running, just as he has said?
Not at all. It is people that politicians are not ready to work that will tell you that they are weighed down by the election petition matters that they have at the tribunal. Somebody who is ready actually to work, what you went through to win an election. Whether there's a matter at the tribunal or not, you would certainly want to write your name in gold in the sand of time for as little time that you have. if the tribunal decide to say, go for another election, so that Nigerians will be happy, that little time that you have, Nigerians will say, well, these few days that he actually was there, he has shown capacity despite the misgivings, despite the doubt. He's been able to show that he has the capacity and the strength to actually do wonders. So instead of holding on and consistently saying that you are looking behind or beyond your shoulders. Also, I would say that people that had if you also remember, a lot of people that had called for the delay of the inauguration are not also calling for the delay of inauguration of state governors or the delay of inauguration of National Assembly members and State Assembly members who also have election petition cases at the tribunal. They were all fixated on the presidential election, that, oh, because there's a court case and so it should not be sworn in. But that is not in our constitution or in our electoral laws. Once the results are announced, it is presumed regular or it is stated otherwise. And from the look of things also, some of the results that had been seen, had gone in the ways of the APC, the new president. So I also do not think that, he will be jittery to the extent of folding his hands, or that the matter at the tribunal will in any way inhibit or delay him in doing anything. Rather, it should revigorate him. It should energize him to actually, want to impress. Because there are a lot of people, there are a lot of doubts from the fact that some believe that he didn't win the election. Also, some people, are questioning his strength and capacity, his mobility. So it does not even have a second, of time for luxury. It should, case or no case, this is the time for him to actually show that, against all doubt, against pundits' presumptions or positions, that indeed he has the capacity, he has the strength, and he has the focus and determination to take Nigeria out of the woods.
Well, indeed, we wish the new president all the luck he needs for a successful administration. But Liberus Oshoma, legal expert and public affairs analyst, thank you very much for your time and your contribution. The Lagos State Governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, has taken the oath of office for his second term as governor. The oath of office, which was administered by the Chief Judge of Lagos State, Justice Kazeem Alugba, signals the beginning of the governor's second term of 4 years. In his inaugural speech after the swearing-in ceremony, Sanwo-Olu further assured Lagosians of a brighter, rewarding future. Well, earlier I spoke with TV 360 correspondent Mr. Ladigun, and I began by asking her what Governor Sanwo-Olu's inauguration was like.
The stadium is packed full with people from all walks of life, from within and outside Nigeria, who are here to witness the inauguration and swearing-in ceremony of Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu and his deputy, Obafemi Hamzat, for second term as governor and deputy governor of Lagos State. Now, the rains didn't even deter the program from holding. Everything went on as planned, and even the governor and everyone else present, regarded or referred to the rain as showers of blessing, and, called it a symbol of new things to come for the state. Back to you, Folashade.
I can imagine that the governor must have made promises and assurances. Could you share with us some of the major promises and goals for his next tenure?
Well, during his swearing-in, the governor, committed the state into his hands, of course, as the first port of call to his second term in office as governor. He also promised that his government will do all it can to make sure that the best is pushed forward. He promised that his government will do much more in all areas, all sectors of the economy, especially in health, education, and infrastructure. He also beckoned on the citizens citizens of Lagos State, calling on them to collaborate with his government to make Lagos State a better one in the next 4 years. He referred to the project as a collective one, as a collective effort. He can't do it alone, which he said was, the assistance of the people of Lagos State is paramount to see that the next 4 years would be the best Lagos has seen from his government.
Well, that was TV 360 correspondent Simisola Adigun speaking to us on the inauguration of Governor Sanwo-Olu for a second term in office. Well, I have Evan Tufeli, legal expert and political affairs analyst, joining me live in the studio for more analysis of the Sanwo-Olu administration and expectations. Now, Sanwo-Olu, just like other governors, have been sworn into office. Sanwo-Olu is coming in for a second term in office alongside his deputy, Babafemi Hamzat. So what are your expectations for this new administration?
Well, I expect that the new administration will continue in its innovation. The Lagos State governor, give it to him and his deputy, have been very innovative in governance in terms of infrastructural development in the state. I expect that they do more, but they need to also work more on the traffic situation of the Lagos State. It appears to be the greatest challenge in Lagos State. In as much as we're having bridges here and there, and they are making concerted effort to decongest traffic, it appears that we are not getting the desired result because traffic is still very much in the states. It takes you a very long time to move from the mainland to the island and vice versa. We know it's given the population is huge, the landmass is quite small, but we would think that they should be able to develop other means of transportation, looking at the waterways, and maybe using cable transport and all that. They should do more. We commend them for the first 4 years so far. We've seen remarkable changes, even in the transport sector, in critical infrastructure, and so many other areas they have worked on. But the next 4 years should be a time for proper consolidation and segmentation of their development. It must be hitch-free. Lagos must, because it is the economic capital of West Africa. It has all the trappings of economic explosion, diversity. It houses everyone, the good, the bad, the ugly. It houses everyone. So it should be a state that should be properly managed in all fronts. And that is what is required. The state is blessed with aquatic splendor. The aquatic route, to move around the state has not been well developed, has not been optimized, has not been upscaled. And then when you look at the other areas of it, developing areas, now you have a refinery in the state, you have a free trade zone, you have a seaport which has been there since. I think there should be a better operation. Then when you look at power and all that, now that electricity has been taken off the exclusive list and now in the concurrent list, it is expected that Lagos State had yearned for that before, even when the current president now, President Bola Tinubu, when he was the Lagos State governor, he did made a lot of impact in that area of the state generating power, but they were stopped by the federal government. But now he's the president, and luckily you also have a protege who is still the governor of the state. We look forward to a synergy between Lagos State government and the federal government, given that they are of the same political party, they are of the same clan and lineage. They have a lot of symmetries. So those symmetries should be looked into so that development could be effectively attracted to Lagos State as the economic capital of West Africa.
Now, critics of President Tinubu have questioned his strength and capacity to lead on the backdrop of rising debt and weakening economy. Are you confident that this new administration can resuscitate the economy?
Well, as much as it is quite early in the day to make predictions, okay, because If you look at it, 8 years ago when Buhari came into office like this, there were a lot of high hopes. People were even talking about body language and the rest of that. So many critical jargons talking about development, but here we are 8 years later, nothing has changed. Nigeria, in fact, Nigeria has even deteriorated. So it is quite early to predict, to say that this government will deliver on the promise of democracy. But what I know is that the government should know that the Nigeria of today is not the Nigeria of 8 years ago. The dynamics of politics have changed. The consciousness now is high. Now, the government in power also, they are aware that there are a segment of this country and other political parties who believe that the party didn't win the election and they are in court already. So this government have no option than to perform. It has no option in its own interests. It has to perform, because the level of public incursion into politics and the level of reawakening in the fact that the right things have to be done by all means, and to couple that Nigerians are equally already very tired of subsisting government and succeeding governments, they will have no choice than to deliver. I heard the speech he delivered not too long ago, just a few minutes ago, where he said subsidy is gone. I was wondering, subsidy is gone to where? How? Have you? You've just been inaugurated. You have just been inaugurated today. Have you now built refineries as a substitute for what? Say subsidy is gone. Gone to where? What do you mean by that? I mean, I hope this should not be what we are going to see. We should see a prepared government. Okay. It is not enough to make speeches and say subsidy is gone by virtue of expression. Okay, now that it is gone according to you, what are the remedies? Where are the refineries, or where are the alternatives that you have come up with? Because that statement is not sufficient. It should be backed by proper explanation and far-reaching articulative presentation as to what the substitute and the alternative would be. Hence, subsidy is gone. But we didn't
I'm
hear
sorry
that.
to interrupt you there, especially when Nigeria has a problem of revenue. In fact, global organizations have said that Nigeria just may spend 100% of its revenue on to service debt and other issues. So that means we're making money, but we're not saving anything. So I just wanted to speak on some of these realities that President Tinubu may have to deal with as he has begun his tenure as president.
Yeah, the country is hugely indebted. The Chinese loan that we had 10 years grace, we have expended the 10-year grace. We are 2 years into default already. Okay, the former President Buhari, at the tail end of his office, 1 week into the expiration of his tenure, he began to take loan from here and there, asking National Assembly, coercing National Assembly to approve funds to feed Nigerians, to pay judgment debts, and then to pay money here and there, which are all false. I see it as just a parting gift to the outgoing president, and I find it very ridiculous, because people talk about the fact that integrity and all that. So, I mean, we already have a fractured budget, because we have a budget that your current expenditure is almost about 50%, and then you have capital expenditure almost about 20, 30, 40 something percent. So now that our debt index has increased, and then we have to almost use 100% of our money to service debt, the misery index has widened, and then the citizens are not, they are the lowest ebb of the whole structure. So we pray that this government will find creative means. Creative means of generating wealth, creative means of servicing the debts we have on ground, so that we don't run into problems where our creditor will come against our critical infrastructure based on the terms of agreement of those loans. And that is the fact that they must be up and doing. And the issue of talking about 60 days before you appoint minister and start working and all that, which is bound by legislation, I think the 60 days is too long. I mean, the next 2 weeks should be enough to assemble the ministers, make all necessary appointments, and let this government go to work. Nigerians don't have that time, the luxury of time, to waste in waiting for government to do the needful. This government has no choice but to perform.
Exactly. Performance, that's the expectation of all Nigerians. Evan Tufeli, legal expert and political affairs analyst, thank you so much for your insight. Well, Alex Oti has been sworn in as the new governor of Abia State. Oti took his oath of office at midday during the inauguration held at the Umuahia Township Stadium. He was sworn in by the Abia Chief Judge, Justice Lillian Abia, with Oti's deputy, Ikechi Valentine Umetu, present. A former presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, has urged his supporters and all Nigerians to remain peaceful and law-abiding, even as Bola Tinubu has been sworn in as President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Obi's comment comes on the heels of reports that some of his supporters and aggrieved members of the People's Democratic Party were looking to stage protests ahead of the inauguration so as to register their displeasure with the election that produced Tinubu as president. Well, it's a wrap on our special broadcast of the 2023 inauguration and swearing-in of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. We wish him a successful administration. I am Fola Shade Ogurinde. Bye for now.